there isn't much in the way of societies offering boys and young men a potential avenue down which to go and express their masculinity in as healthy and beautiful a way as possible. What there is this vague notion about masculinity, and it's difficult to concretely define precisely because of how vague it is, but I can give it a bash here and understand that there are multiple variations of this same description. But this is pretty much all that society offers young men in the way of informing them of what they can become. A masculine man is strong, brash, aggressive. He knows what he wants and will relentlessly pursue the course of action that must be taken in order to achieve what he wants. And when it comes to women, he's domineering and requires submission from his partner. And women are pretty much viewed as replaceable assets in his life. So that is the sort of picture of what a masculine man is that society provides young men. And unless young men consciously choose to investigate what's up with being a man in today's world, then this is what they're left with. It's important to note that every time society describes this vague notion of a masculine man, implicit in it is the encouragement against becoming that type of a man, the encouragement against developing the attributes spoken to in that vague definition of what a man is or should be in today's world. Because it carries many negative connotations. This idea of toxic masculinity is baked into all of these poorly defined societal narratives on what it is to be a man in the modern world. And so there's two responses to this picture of a masculine man that it induces out of men in today's world. The one response is accepting society's implicit encouragement to reject the attributes spoken to in this description of toxic masculinity, to accept the encouragement and pretty much become docile, weak, impotent. For what purpose, I have no idea, but that is the societal encouragement route. So that's the complicit man, whereas we also get a reactionary response from this poor definition of what a man is. Some men will opt to become that very type of man who has all of those attributes and sort of maximizes all of those masculine attributes. So he is the hyper-masculine man who reacts against the poorly defined notion of what a man is, a modern man. And what's important to understand about both of these responses is that they each hinge on this abysmal definition of what a man is in the modern world. So, with this piece, I want to encourage an alternative view so that we can take an alternative route, because clearly neither the complicit man nor the hypermasculine man are admirable or worth striving for. The one is weak and impotent, the other is arrogant and over the top. So how can we define a sort of a middle ground, a golden mean, the perfect balance between the two? Well, first off, we need to bounce back, gain some perspective, and see this poorly defined, ambiguous notion of what a modern man should be for what it is. It's a terrible description, and society provides nothing else unless you as a man choose to consciously pursue the question, what is a man? What can I become? So we bounce back and we gain that perspective and we see that, okay, wait, this is a false binary. I'm being offered two options, neither of which I want. So where can I go from here? So we must reject the boundaries that society foists upon us without our permission. So we need to give ourselves permission to just break out of those chains. What is the alternative route? I have here called it the ecological man. And there's a reason for that. This is because in ecology, the sort of linear cause and effect, black and white, binary mode of thinking often provides no value in describing what's going on in an ecosystem, say. Often that linear cause and effect way of thinking doesn't accurately reflect what's going on in the ecosystem, or doesn't describe accurately what's going on in the ecosystem. So in the same way that that linear way of thinking is inadequate for ecology, so too that linear way of thinking is inadequate for thinking about what a modern man is and what he can become. So there's this embrace of complexity and uncertainty, and a willingness to not impose your own belief system, complicit man or hypermasculine man, but break out of that false dichotomy and engage in a process of discovery. So this is the important point. As ecological men, we can redefine what it is to be a modern man by going through the process of defining ourselves as modern men. So that's that. I hope this video illuminated the false dichotomy, that binary between the complicit man and the hypermasculine man, and how it is an artificial restriction on we men to attempt to corral us into a certain developmental pathway, neither of which I find appealing or admirable, in case you didn't know that already. And then offering an alternative, which I'm calling the ecological man, which you might call something else, which is actually bound to be called something else by you because it's not well defined. But at least it's not accepting the artificial restrictions that society insists on imposing upon us.